What's going on, housemates? Marcelo here. I hope you are having a nice end to the week and start to the weekend wherever you're watching this video from. Quick video from me today, and it is about a report from Sami Mokbel that Arsenal are set to have an unprecedented summer in terms of spending. Now, of course, the timing of this coming out is very convenient after Arsenal crashed out of the Carabao Cup, yet another competition where we could have won some silverware, and yet again another final that we have missed out on. So it does, of course, feel like a bit of a PR move, and it feels like it's more of the same old, like we've heard this over and over with Arsenal, right? So, of course, on the surface level, you have to be a bit skeptical and a bit annoyed, right? Because it just feels like the same old story over and over. Um, but I do still think that there is reason to be excited about this, right? You look at the January that we had, and we didn't sign anyone, of course. We didn't want to be reactionary. Look, I obviously am in the same boat as most of you in that we needed to bring in at least one attacker, given, how thin we are up front. And now with Gabriel Martinelli having seemingly injured his hamstring, that's another attacker down. We have to wait to see how serious that is. So, in no way am I defending entirely our decision not to sign anyone. I do appreciate that we didn't spend big money just for the sake of it, but it did hurt seeing us not bring anyone in. Now, with that being said, because we didn't bring anyone in, and because Sami Mokbel is, I think, one of the more reliable journalists in football, especially when it comes to Arsenal, I think we should believe this, and I think we are set to spend 200 mil or 250 mil this summer. And honestly, given the January that we had, this is the only plan of action that is acceptable, right? So while I am excited by this, I also look at what we did in January and think, okay, yeah, that's exactly what should be happening, and nothing else can be accepted at this point. Because you look at our project, you look at how incredible some of our players are, right? If we want to keep them in the long run and show them that we're serious about winning silverware, because we haven't won any silverware with this group of players, we have to spend big and we have to go big. And I don't want to see any more of this, just long-term signings, potential signings, right? We need one or two big names. Now, Zubimendi, it came out in mid-January that we'd confirmed his signing for the summer. That's still not set in stone, right? But Zubimendi is a fantastic place to start. And then in terms of a striker, I think Isak is obviously the name, right? Now, we would probably have to drop 150 mil to get him. But, I think we have to do it, right? I would not be against it. It's not my money. So I'm not going to say it's too much. Look, if we have the money, we got to spend it. And then in terms of a winger, I don't know. I'm still looking at someone like Semenyo or Umbuemo or Nico Williams. Sesko is another huge name. I think Sesko would be a smarter signing in terms of money. It would allow us to sign more players than if we were to drop 150 mil on Isak, because I think Sesko would be more in the range of 60 or 70 mil. So yeah, I think that as much as I understand the reaction from our housemates on Instagram and Arsenal fans in general across social media, I do think the reliability of the name behind the report and our lack of January activity, points towards this being a legitimate, you know, action or a legitimate report. So I don't really have too much to say, but at the end of the day, actions speak louder than words. And we've all been here before, and we know that Arsenal tends to get our hopes up, right? Josh Kroenke told us be excited, and we have spent big. It has to be said. I'm not out here, acting like we haven't spent. We're not amongst, the biggest spending teams in Europe in the last few years, but after the decade that we had under Arsene Wenger, while we were paying off the debt of the Emirates and before the Kroenkes fully took over the club, right? We have had no choice but to spend big. But if we want to take things a step further and really be a team that can dominate and consistently win trophies over the next 5 years, we have to continue spending. Yes, we scored the most goals we've ever scored last season, and we improved in all these ways, but that means nothing if you don't continue to build on that. And I think we did fall short last summer, right? As much as I'm excited about Calafiori as a signing, that's not enough. Mikel Merino, he is ultimately a floor raiser, not a ceiling raiser. Um, Raheem Sterling obviously has been a terrible signing in the end, even though it's just a loan. Not that consequential, of course, but he hasn't been impactful in the way that we sort of tricked ourselves into believing because it was such a last minute signing. And, it sort of felt like it made sense on paper. Um, so, yeah, last summer was a letdown at the end of the day. And so we have to go big this summer. There's no other way about it. And I'm not trying to sound spoiled, but, when you look at our competition and Man City spending as much as they did in January. They spent like 200 mil, over 200 mil, right? So yeah, we have no choice. So I'm gonna stop myself there, but let me know what you think. Do you think that we're actually gonna do it, or do you think it's more of the same old talk and we're gonna continue falling short of what's necessary if we want to take that next step towards actually winning the Prem and Champions League and silverware in general? I'm cautiously optimistic because like I've said, it feels like all signs point in that direction. But at the end of the day, actions speak louder than words because we've been duped before as Arsenal fans. It's the hope that kills you. So, yeah, I hope you enjoy, a 9 day break without the Arsenal stressing us out, even though, it has been far from a catastrophic season, all things considered, but it hurts, of course, being out of the two cup competitions. So, yeah, let me know what you think, and I'll be back soon with another video. I'm going to try to keep churning out the content despite a lack of games. So have a great weekend wherever you are. And as always, come on, you Gunners. Peace.